All right, so welcome to Intuition to Income, everyone. This is Abby Gooch, and I am so glad to be here. I have a very, very dear friend. I really actually more call her an angel. I'm not even sure how we connected, but she just started calling me, and she would call me at the perfect time in the perfect way, and later offered to publicize my book and just does amazing work in the world. But what I love about her is her heart, and she is always, in my experience, listening to her intuition and following it. So I invited her to be on the show today because I obviously love her and believe she has so much value because she's living intuitively and she's serving so many people. So Lydia, would you like to introduce yourself fully to our audience and
Yes.
welcome to the show?
Hi, what a lovely introduction. Thank you. I'm Dr. Tranquility, Lydia, and I wear several hats. So talk about following your tuition. It followed me down a path that sort of forked a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then I'm sorry, are you okay? And then it all came back together and just became this amazing opportunity of opportunities. And so I'm a mind body medicine practitioner, and that's from Harvard's Mind Body Institute. And then I'm also a hypnotic anesthesiologist, and I have a background in botanical meds with certifications from Columbia and blah, 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 blah. And that is the mainstay of my work. And then through that work, I developed a protocol called date therapy, which is very popular with the young and older now. And my relaxation physiology, which encompasses all the things that I mentioned to you in terms of mind body in my practice. And so I have a tool bag, and I pull out the appropriate tool bag for the appropriate client or patient, whatever the situation is. And then I started a PR business. I became ill, and I went through a spell where I was bedridden, and I had to occupy my mind. And my friends had always been asking me how I garnered so much media. My businesses, my protocols have garnered a lot of media, major media. And so they asked me how I did it, and I was able to start with one, and from my laptop on my stomach in bed and a phone, and publicity was born. So I'm not a full-fledged publicist because I do these other more healing modalities, and I find the publicity world to be a bit more harsh and a bit less intuitive by and large. I know a few people who do that very well. And my way of being able to be in that group of people who do it well is to just take a select few people that I really like and believe in. And I know they have something both to offer the world and to be of service, and something that, quite frankly, we can make up money on. You know, I don't want to take them on if I don't think I can be of benefit to them. So I'm unique in that I do have these multiple sides.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You
It's like
know,
multifaceted. It's beautiful. I love it.
very,
I
very
love it.
multifaceted.
So how did you feel first connected to your intuition? What like woke you up to that sense of knowingness within you that you started to follow?
I think I've always had it. And I was always connected to it. I just thought it was like a sixth sense of mine. Um, and, with intuition, I find that it can be a double-edged sword. If you use it wisely, then it's beneficial. If you don't, you can use it to some detriment if you're not using your greater good when you're doing it. So
Yeah.
it took me a little while. I was sort of like the 2-year-old toddler, baby Frankenstein, learning, oh, yeah, that's what that message was. Boy,
Yeah.
I should have listened, like the old V8 commercial. But, I remember my first connection with it being about 5 or 6.
Hmm. What was your
And
experience like? Like, how did you feel like, wow, because we all have intuition. It just kind of becomes
yeah, everybody
awareness,
does.
right?
Absolutely, everybody does. It's simply how they apply it and how they harness it. Um, I think, the first time I remembered it was a knowing of just how to do something that it made no sense that I would know how to do. And I suddenly knew to go, left rather than right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the right response. I was carrying out the right activity. And then I realized later in life I would get downloads on people, you know.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you, bless you. Double blessings. So, and that was really important. I have a great father who I adore. And when I was younger, he has a background in mental health and sociology specifically. And well, mental health as well, and sociology specifically. So he would, play little games with me, and I would assess who people were. And it was only a couple of times that we did this, but I remember it very distinctly. And so I grew up kind of understanding how to assess people. My problem was sometimes the read I would receive, I felt badly about having. It was like, don't do business with this person, or don't get in that car and go off with that group. Don't, whatever. And then later I would find out that I was correct,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I was lucky about that. I didn't call it intuition or have any kind of title for it until much later in life.
It's just kind of the knowing you said, and I think you used the word Satori, which is your company name, which is
Yes.
just like a knowing that, like, that you know. So like the answer is always there. It's just like, are
Yeah.
you listening to that knowing?
It is. It's like a sudden awareness, and once it's there, that's it.
Yeah.
There's no going back. There's no ignoring it.
Yeah.
So it's a Buddhist term. So, and that's why I named the PR business, my publicity business, Satori, because I think once these people are known, then they're known, and they have great messages to bring the world.
That's awesome. So as you followed your intuition, how have you noticed like you serving the world naturally? Because I have this really deep knowing and belief as we follow our intuition, not only are we served, but the world around us is, because we're connected to that greater flow.
Yeah. Well, I would say, that's a good question. I would say it guides me at different times. Under the, I guess, publicity banner, you could say, I developed a production company about 15 years ago, and we did some work. We had a great production in Costa Rica at Pura Vida yoga retreat, and that was about 10 years ago. And it would just sort of lead me to add on pieces and to be able to serve. I was a vice president of a health and wellness IPTV, which is what was digital TV originally when it first came out. So, or first came to the mainstream. And through those projects that I did, I started working with women, and we had something called Power Women. And on my original site, we would have a collection of women that would come together, and I would do a series of interviews. Then they started being live events in New York. And then when I became ill, they went back to being digital events, and I had to put them on a back burner because there were only so many things I could do at that point. And now they've been reincarnated as following your passion and making moves. Even so, and those are at a nominal price. It's something that everyone can afford. When it was digital, and we have another version of that actually that's up on Satori SatoriXPR.com. And it was a beautiful thing that came to me in my intuition. And it was a round table, and it's called Power Women. You'll find it. And it has a plethora of different female speakers from around the globe. So we had people from Colombia, we had people from New Zealand, we had people from Australia, we had people from New York, California. So these were women that I had collected along my journey. And it was just before I think I met you, because I definitely would have had you in that.
Oh, you're sweet.
And a lot of very powerful, intuitive, some indigenous healers, lots of spiritual work, because as women, we're very in tune with, I think, far more with our spirituality. And so when we come together in power, it just creates an amazing movement. And it's still up and you can still go see it. It is totally for charity. So I came up with the idea and held the interviews in these women's.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Can you tell us the name of that that particular one that people can go to it?
Yeah, it's called Power Women, and it's on satorixpr.com.
So if they go to satorix.pr, or sorry, can you just repeat the spelling so people can go to it?
It's Satori X for standing in for anything, satorixpr.com. And you can go there, and the Power Women, the whole interview is there, the women who are involved, their backgrounds, and it's really fascinating to look at their backgrounds. They're amazing women. And then there are 2 links that we put up because it was around the world. There were some British charities and then some charities here, and it was to combat human trafficking and domestic violence. Wow. So you could go and contribute whatever. You could $5, $500, $5,000. That was up to you and the charity. We didn't have anything to do with that. So it was great. Oh, Dress for Success. We did some contributions there.
That's awesome.
So so those are the sort of things where my intuition guides me. And so it's interesting when people ask me, what is it I do? I do a bunch of things. And there's no real way to put it in a particular frame out, Yeah. In human design, it's called manifesting generator.
Nice.
So we follow our passion,
nice.
And our intuition. That's in cool. Projects.
That's awesome. So how have you seen people maybe like blocked to their intuition? Like they feel an intuition, but maybe fear, something comes up, so they don't feel quite as able to access it. And how have you guided them through that in some of your work?
I think, that goes back into my practice, especially in, believe it or not, in the date therapy protocol. When I started date therapy, the world was not as open sexually into dating and different types of dating, even interracial dating. It was not as wide as we see it. It wasn't as open to, especially in this country, to homosexuals, lesbians. It just wasn't as well received. And in a few instances in my sessions, people realized that they were actually homosexual or lesbian, or bi, transgender. There were different things that presented itself in those sessions. They also may have realized that what they were ideally attracted to was a different type of woman that society and their circle told them was the type they should be with. So it really gets into your true core of what you want and what your intuition and guidance is telling you is right for you, as a protocol.
Yeah, and I love that.
Yeah, me too. It's usually done in 1 to 3 sessions. Sometimes people need a bit more time with me because we're dealing with other things, and then we sort of move into the Dr. Tranquility side of what's going on. So we're doing more mind-body, more mental awareness. Let's call it that, because everyone is healthy to some degree. Well, unless they're really not, but mental awareness.
Come back to our whole
mental awareness to mental health. So,
that's beautiful. Yeah, it's just, to me, intuition is, it brings us back to our wholeness and the truth within us. And I always love to ask our speakers, if they have a way that they like to guide people to connect with their intuition. Like I have a very simple 3-step process that I guide people through, but I'm wondering if there's a way you'd like to share that you connect with your intuition, that they could experience just directly having that connection point.
Sure. Did you want me to take them through the process? Or
sure, if you want to do like a little mini thing, just
we'll
so people can experience you and the intuitive piece.
I don't think I can just explain it.
Nope, it's all
Off the cuff.
experience. I remember my teacher, Michael Bennett, he always would tell me, he's like, experience is the best teacher, right? Like, just sell
Yes.
experience because it's like, that's what changes
Experiential,
people.
baby.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So everyone just close your eyes or lower them, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And you're going to close off your right nostril with your finger and breathe through the left. And we're going to do that 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then breathe through both. Unblock your nose, your nostril. I'm just going to breathe. And it feels good to relax. In a moment, I'm going to count from 10 down to 1. And when I reach the number 1, you will have moved in your mind's eye toward a place that is so safe for you. It may be some place that you've actually visited, or a combination of places that you create in your mind's eye. So let's get to it. 10, going down 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, deeper down 4, 3, 2, starting to notice aromas and fragrances of this special place. 1, noticing colors and textures. Just sitting there in your special place, find a little comfortable spot. Today we're going to create our box, and this is our stressor box. So it can be made of any material that you choose: wood, concrete, stainless steel, glass, fabric, leaves, anything that you choose. There are only 2 features on this box. And one is a lock, and you're going to lock it and keep it right here. And the other one is a deposit slot, similar to your ATM. So you can always deposit things through that slot, and they'll spontaneously evaporate as you do. So there's always room for more stuff. I like to line my box with pillows so that if people land, they're landing safely and peacefully. If you're putting people in your box, maybe someone you've been upset or a little stressed out about. And so I'm going to sit quietly for 2 moments while you create your box. For 2 moments of relaxation time is all the time that you will need. Very good, thank you. So now, depositing your box, we're going to get a balloon. You choose the color, you choose the size. It can be as large as a hot air balloon or as small as a children's birthday party balloon. Whatever size fits your box and your needs today, whatever color. And you're just going to tie a cord, a string, or a rope, whichever is appropriate, around the box and allow it to drift off. As the box raises higher and higher, you may notice that you're feeling lighter and freer. So it's going to drift off now, and you're feeling lighter and freer as it goes higher and higher, lighter and freer. In fact, higher it goes, the lighter and freer you can ever remember feeling. It's amazing. It's almost out of sight now, and you're feeling so relaxed and free. It's gone. Taking in a deep inhalation and exhale, picturing the white light entering the toes, moving all the way up your legs, straight up as if your body's a straw, filling your body as it goes, all the way up into your head, filling it completely and shooting out of the top, radiating and emanating from each pore of skin on your body and creating a magical bubble around you. That's your safe space that you will carry back. So we're going to begin to come back here and talking. 1, climbing higher. 2, 3, climbing higher. 4, 5. Very good. 6, climbing higher. 7, 8. Begin to feel energy coming in. Let's take a deep breath. Get that oxygen moving around. 9, 10. Anytime that you feel comfortable and relaxed and you're ready to continue, open your eyes.
It's beautiful. I love it. I feel the bubble, like a bubble of love. It feels so good.
Yeah, isn't that good? And that's something you can take with you. That's actually, to give props, that's an adaptation of a script by Marlene Hunter for medical hypnosis.
Beautiful.
So I love the boxes. She actually works with more boxes, but we don't have time for all that.
That's awesome.
But it's just a wonderful thing that you can kind of do. And if you're really feeling a bit of stress or tension, if you're in a board, well, we're not in boardrooms right now, but if you're in a meeting, even on Zoom, you can just kind of lean your head over and no one knows exactly what you're up to. They think you're just holding your face, but you're actually breathing through the left, inhaling it and exhaling. And what that does is it trips the body into the parasympathetic mode, which is a relaxed state. And conversely, if you're feeling a little like dragging your bum a bit and you're trying to cut back on your caffeine, you can block off the left and breathe through the right, and it will pep you up and it trips you back into the sympathetic.
Nice. That's cool.
And that's in 5 seconds, 5 breaths.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience about just their ability to connect with their intuition, and that as you have been following yours, you've told us so much about what you've done in the world, but how it's just created this positive impact, because like I said, it's just really building this trust around this inner place within us that knows and is connected to everyone and everything. So as we follow that and take action on that intuitive guidance, and really a simple one like I love to offer people is, when you bring your awareness from your head to your heart to your gut, and you get an expanded yes, like you can feel what your yes feels like and your no feels like, and just moving into your yeses and letting your world just open up more and more, and knowing that your intuition is that expansiveness, right? It's your soul guiding you. So just to listen and know that as you follow that, you're just more and more of a blessing to the world around you. So to trust that.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way of explaining it. Yeah. And I think allowing allowing yourself to hear it. So often we don't understand what it's trying to tell us. So we get a little resistance, and it's just knowing it's going to be okay if you trust in it and allow. It will guide you. And then you'll look back and, which is like Kensho, the opposite of Satori in Buddhism. And you'll look back and you'll notice that you're not where you were. Just by allowing it, it guided you, and you think, wow, this is a really great place. How did I get here? And then you look back and there's all these baby steps, instead of Satori, which is like the big knowing. So it's beautiful.
I think you can get the knowing sometimes, right? The Satori, and then you have to take the baby steps to get there, right? It's like your intuition's like, hey, here's where we're going. And then it's like, okay, now here's the baby steps to get there.
Right. Well, we all go back and forth between the two constantly. But by allowing, you begin the process.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. It's almost like the process also of letting go of what doesn't serve, like I know our planet's going through a shift, and we're like internally and externally and just in so many ways, right? Like relationships, everything changing. So just to allow like you said, allow the energy, the life force to move through and express and release what doesn't serve, so the new light can come in, right? So this new higher frequency.
Absolutely. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's safe. And when you use that basic principle, Abby, which you're teaching people, it's just wonderful. And your book is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
If you guys, let me see, it's going to move my screen because I'm using it.
Oh, don't worry.
Touched by the Light.
That's beautiful.
It's a beautiful book. Read it. Enjoy it. Love it. You will.
Yeah. It's funny, as we were talking, I literally saw the light come in. As soon as I said, bring the light in, it comes in. So it's available. So I think for us all to know that it's available, right? To be in that infinite possibility. And I love the word. If you ever actually looked at the word impossible, if you actually break it down, it's like, I am possible, right? So like,
Yeah.
I almost want to be like, nothing's impossible, right? Like if you move into that I am presence of the possibility, your intuition will guide you. And it's always going to guide you to the highest and best, right? Because your soul is love. So when you're listening to
Yes,
that, it's going to open you up. And I think sometimes it doesn't maybe make sense to our mind, but if we're
it
believing
doesn't.
something negative about ourselves or another, it's going to disconnect us, or we'll feel disconnected. But if we come back to the truth, that's what I love about intuition, is it will always take you back to the truth. So no matter what anybody said or done to you, or you maybe have done something to somebody else, you still know the truth. Or maybe somebody got hurt, like you didn't necessarily do something to them, but they felt hurt. You still know the truth within you. And I think that's what's so beautiful about that. Just for my own life, I developed such inner stability so young because I could feel the truth. It was like, well, if I know the truth within me, then I'm okay. Because it's kind of like whatever you do out there, it just is happening and you can interact with me or not, right? So it's
Yes.
a really beautiful, empowering place to create your life from. I mean, I think I said, like, things are shifting. Like I said, that like there's a lot going on, like
There's
there's
a lot going on.
thing.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to say, where do you want to interact from? Where do you want to
Well,
interact?
that's so well said. So I'm sorry, I'm just so busy praising, I didn't hear you.
You're
Where do I
fine.
want to, where do I
Well,
want to
just
do
the
it?
question I'm asking myself and just all of our listeners is, where do you want to interact with the world from? So knowing that you can connect this intuitive place within you to come from that place of love. And I know, like for myself, I mean, things can happen where people might upset me or I might feel hurt. And it's like, I could react in that trigger place of, man, I had all this stuff happen and now I'm feeling triggered. Or I could be like, I'm going to drop into my center from my intuition and respond with love, because that's available too. And it doesn't mean that we don't process all these things, but it's not like an attacking energy, it's a connected, like an interconnection. So I feel like
Yeah.
that, it's interesting, like I said, where we're at right now is we have the opportunity to come together, and we always have
Yeah.
that opportunity.
Yes,
And I think it's
that's
the part,
true.
right? Like the first step.
Yeah, and it's that awareness, I think. When I was talking earlier about mental awareness, because I also, some of my protocols are based in mental health and
Yeah.
some of my additional work. So what I would say is that, it's an awareness of where we are,
Mhm.
and to be forgiving and loving toward yourself. Because if you're loving and forgiving toward yourself, you will naturally, you align and connect with that knowing, with the intuition, with the guidance, and you will share that love.
Mhm.
Like we talked about, just as an example, when I called you, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I didn't know
Yeah.
why oh, it's an Abby moment. I called, my
Yeah.
girlfriend called me up the other day. She's like, it's a Lydia
Yeah.
moment. It's a Dr. Tranquility moment,
Yeah.
you know. So, and we can show up for each other all the time. And you've shown up for me also and introduced me to some wonderful people, Amy,
Mm.
Cheryl, who's going to be on this, I think, later on, and later next month. And it's just gorgeous
Yeah.
when you follow it, and it doesn't, understanding that it doesn't have to make sense,
Mhm.
because it's probably not going to in the beginning.
Yeah.
Just go along with the process.
I love that. And to trust yourself where you're at with the forgiveness. It's fascinating. I was just thinking of that last night. Like, I was pretty judgmental of myself. I had these expectations and standards, right? I'd be like, oh, if I would have done that differently. And yesterday, literally, I just felt this forgiveness, like no judgment, like the transformation. And then a girlfriend called, and it's funny you say the Lydia fix. I used to people have Abby fixes, right? And it's like we're all that to each other, right? But it's like to actually move into that place of like transformation, right? So the love and forgiveness of self. When you come into that place, you'll see the transformation. You'll see, oh, well, I needed to go through that to understand this. And now
Yeah.
this is who I am. So the judgment starts to fade. And I know when I started or founded the intuitive success coaching process, it was on the place of unconditional love and non-judgment. And I would
Hmm.
hold it for my clients and my friends and partner or whatever, but for myself, it was always harder. And it's like to actually move into that place for ourselves is like the
Hmm.
greatest gift. Because like you said, when you shift your energy, then you have that to be able to give to other
Yeah.
people, right? It's like a
Yes.
ripple. But I want to invite people to, do intro sessions with either Lydia or I, but what's coming through, and I get hesitant because I don't want to like promote my own stuff, but I do want to say subconsciously, we can start acting from the conditioned response versus our intuition. So,
Yes.
I would recommend, going, you can go to the site, I don't even want to promote it because it doesn't feel right, but learn about NLP and how you actually can shift your mindset to come in alignment with your intuition. Because when you shift your beliefs to line up with the truth of who you are, then you can start manifesting congruently. And so that's where the power is, you know, because you're fully in integrity with who you are. It's just some things that have happened, we've created beliefs that aren't true, right? And so to actually, you know, heal those and bring them back into the resolution of our intuition gives us that place of power.
Yes. Well, and I think it's also important to just remember, I was talking with, interviewing Joe Vitale, Dr. Joe Vitale, and one of the things that I said, and he liked it, so I was like, ooh, was just get started. Just step out on faith, you know, as Martin Luther King says, but just do baby steps.
Yeah.
And if you can just do the baby steps, you'll find yourself present in where you want to be. You'll find the kindness for yourself, which only brings more kindness and love for others. And it doesn't have to be this massive project, because I think sometimes we understand that, but for the everyday person, they may not. Like I can't get so involved. I'll never get it right. And then all of the negatives, inner voice and inner dialogue starts to kick in, and they turn into blockages. So by just taking little bite-sized pieces, you can actually accomplish great big things. You can find that connection and alignment, and you'll see it'll be rewarding when you do. So just by doing a little thing and playing with it. Let's play. This is fun. It's joyful. So just playing with it a little bit, and you'll notice, oh, that worked. And then you'll light up and you'll feel so cool because you felt it, and it's accomplishment, and it's juicy and warm and delicious, right? It's like this elixir of fabulousness.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
So you want to keep doing that. And then you'll find that it'll just be second nature.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that you Go ahead. Well, I love that you said connection and alignment, because when you said that, my heart lit up, and I realized that's like when I started my company. I think I was like 19. It was like life force connection. It just wrote itself through me. And I was like, oh, that's alignment. So as I align with the universe, everything happens. So it's not about money. It's not about relationship. It's not about health. It's about alignment. And then everything happens. So like I wouldn't worry about money, and it would come in, and I'd be serving. So that's really what I want to get at this show, is this place of service. So when you're in alignment and you're in a place of service, the money will come, the support will come, whatever it is, right? Like if it's not actual cash, it's going to be something else, that like a beautiful couch or home that holds that frequency of money, right? It's still wealth. It can be relationship, but the whole piece of this is alignment. So that's my prayer for everybody, is that they feel their life force connection, their alignment to the universe. You can use source, God, whatever it is. It's just that higher place within you. When you're working from that place, like that's how we did the nonprofit, right? And he was like, oh, this was coming in because it wasn't so much about me. It was like, what am I to do to serve the greater whole? And then of course you get served in that process, you know? And I think that's where we connected. And my experience is I've connected with such amazing influential leaders in the world. And it's like, because they feel me, they feel where we're at. And so it's like you start to attract this vibration of like everybody on this show, like we're just all together in this, listening to each other, everybody watching this, on this frequency of like lifting each other up. So from that, more comes, right? From that frequency.
Automatically. It's more of whatever it is. So if you're spending your time thinking about negativity and negative past experiences, you know, when we have a bad experience, have the experience, learn the lesson, but throw the rest of it out. It's not going to serve you in the present or in the future, right? So you know, so if you just allow and stay, it's okay to, what I like to call, recognize and release, right? So something pops in your head. Okay, that was how I felt at that point. But then take a moment to look and think about what that felt like, and then think about what you now feel like. And actually just allow the positive feelings of now to just envelop the negatives from the past and keep moving forward. So you just recognize, envelop, release, right? And that way you're not staying hooked on, don't be stuck on stuck. You're not staying hooked in the negativity.
Don't be
But
stuck on stuck. That's awesome. I love that. That's great. Go take a jog and shake it off.
yeah. I mean, like, this interview is so fun. And I'm so honored to do it. It's one of the first interviews where I've had to think almost spherically about the work that I do, because it is so different that all of the interviews that I give are usually about one aspect of what I do, not all of the things that I do.
Yeah.
So when we went to all of the things that I do, there was that moment of, how do I describe it? It's not going to make any sense. And then I thought, okay, calm down. Focus on Abby. Don't think about yourself, and you'll be fine.
And it's really about who you
are.
are. Do you know what I'm saying? For you and everybody, and myself included, it's like who you are. That's why I fell in love with you. And, everybody on the show, it's like, you guys, it's because of who you are, right? And, watching me, like, I don't think it's because I'm doing or saying a certain thing. It's just who I am. Like, we're all connected on that frequency of love. So our titles are like, I remember when I first started my practice, they're like, what's your education? And like, what did you do? And like, here I'm working with like, doctors and attorneys and lawyers. And I'm just like, it doesn't really matter. Like, why don't you have a session? You'll have the experience. So you can have these labels or you can have the experience. And the experience of you is the greatest gift you can give the planet, because that's why we're all connected in this, right? So whatever we're choosing to do as an expression of love, I'm quite convinced that that's our purpose. Whatever that expression of love is.
That's beautiful. And I agree. That's eloquently said. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And I do, in my different worlds, and they are very different. And sometimes titles, sometimes none. And I'm happy to see that the world is getting to a place where your title doesn't matter. Where what you bring to the table and your information is what's relevant. And we're starting to see that in, Gen Zs and baby millennials. So where they're not as hung up on that. And if someone happens to have that, what else do they have? It's making them whole and complete. Alternatively, and how are they integrating? But more than that, how are they infusing, right? Their practice and what they share. So it's really, we're going through an evolution, and I think this time with this particular thing, because it could be anything else, this is just how it showed up in this moment, is kind of helping us to get our bottoms in gear in terms of what does my work look like when I'm doing it online, right? And how can I be successful at getting that message out when everybody is putting their work online suddenly? I'm surprised Zoom hasn't crashed. But
I've been doing the online stuff for so long, because I remember I opened a school in person in La Jolla, and I was like, I want to go international, and the way to do it was online. So that's how we get to connect, right? So
that was me. That
right?
was me. Absolutely. Yep. I've been online for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
But so it's like, it's amazing, to have it. And it did. That's how we thought back then. We thought, or even 10 years ago, we thought, oh, great, we're going to be able to, connect with the world and get our message out and help, and be of service. And it turned into this other medium. So now everyone's jumping on the bandwagon and they're trying to figure themselves out online. So and realizing what you and I learned earlier on, what a beautiful way of reaching people it is. It's not just to play games or to send emails.
And the biggest thing, and I'll just tell everybody a little secret before I even did the online thing, is I connected through the power of the heart. So I would feel energetically first. And even like the visions with the nonprofit, like I saw kids that like had darker skin, we were building stuff when I was in high school. And then like in my 30s, it became a reality. So when we're in our heart, we'll start getting these inner visions, we'll start getting these inner promptings, and we're actually already connected to the people and our purpose at the energetic level first. And then the other stuff comes. And right now we happen to be at a time that things are shifting online. But like both you and I mean, for me, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, I started going online, you 20, whatever it was, it all started from the place of our heart. So I just want to encourage everybody to find the frequency of their own heart and where that's guiding them, and let that like pave the way. Like I talk about, like, listen to your intuition as the soft whisper of your soul, guiding you to where love has already paved the way before you.
Yeah.
So it's there. And then when you open to your heart and listen and you're guided by your gut, it's like you're prompted to the next step and the next step. And even if you can't see it or it doesn't make sense in your mind, especially like now, you're like, well, I'm just going to trust this baby step, right? Because that's like about as far as we can all go, is like a baby step, you know? And so it's just kind of like, all right, and now this feels good, and now that feels good, and to stay in the moment. And one of my things right now is like, what does life have to teach you right now? What does life have to teach you? Because at one point I thought I had it all figured out, and it was like, nope. So it's kind of like, I think we've all been there, right? We get to a certain point, we're like, oh my God, I got this. Oh, so now there's this, right? There's always another layer. So I certainly feel like we're all learning, but our soul, again, is kind of like, I paved the way. Just listen. It's here.
It's true. And that's, again, so beautifully said. We are. I mean, that's where it all begins, and it works outwardly from there. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful to be on this journey with you today.
You too.
And talk about so many things that we share. It's funny, the overlaps.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you'd like to share with the audience and leave them with as like a footprint? So I talk about, like, you know, you walk in the sand, you have footprints behind you. Like, what do you want them to remember from this conversation and from you?
For me, I would say the box, working with your box, and blocking off your right nostril and breathing through the left for the parasympathetic mode, calling that in, you know, activating it.
Yeah.
It's good for the body and the mind.
That's beautiful.
And I think just to believe in yourself and understand that in this journey, you're going to end up in some weird situations, but you're being guided through them, and they're beautiful. So it's only when we start to resist that it becomes negative.
It's really beautiful. I have to tell you, I've had a really strong aversion to boxes until you were talking, because I'm like, don't put me in a box. I want to get out of the box. But I did your meditation, and it's like it opened me up to like it actually being a protective, light-filled, really loving feeling, you know? Like I said,
you're not in the box.
Yeah, I love it.
They're in the box. And I as I mentioned, I always, that this part wasn't a part of the whole, I've adapted the whole script, but none of it's the same script. But the pillows in the box, when I first started to work with this, I felt less guilty because I could throw people in and I knew they would land safely.
Yeah.
You know, like if I was having a disagreement with a partner.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't want them to, I didn't want them to be hurt in any way. So I line it with some lovely pillows and then toss them in. You know, just to get that moment for yourself to reset.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's all resetting.
Yeah. I love what you said. Like, you might be in situations that don't make sense. You're like, what's going on? But to know that you're led through it with your intuition. And I think that's beautiful. Yeah. It is. You just said it beautifully. You know, it's like, you may not understand it, but there's always going to be some lesson, learning, growth, and really positive experience that comes from it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. So really quick, can you share your website? And I know we talked briefly about you doing some group work for some people, if you want to share about that, some options there, and also your private. What I want to recommend is, obviously this woman has many different hats, and if you're connecting with her as much as I am, please just send her an email, and then we're going to be talking together about what we can offer you as a group program. So I would actually love if you guys want to let her, I know she's going to give you the email, but what you would like to see it from us, because she's going to give you some options, and we just want to serve you. So as Lydia shares, you know, some different group options and also her private programs, shoot her an email and let her know how you can be served by her or us in doing something grouped together, because we're really here to serve you and just really want to offer what it is that you need right now. Yeah. So Lydia, you want to share some of that?
Yes, Lydia at drtranquility.com. Okay, so here we go.
And it's Lydia, on the screen. Yeah, it's on the screen.
It is.
So if you look to the bottom left, very cool. Yeah.
So just look at your screen. And then the websites are drtranquility.com and Satori XPR, which houses date therapy, which is that protocol for people who are interested in conscious dating and having a better understanding of themselves and with their partners, or calling in the partner.
Right.
So, and what they really want, because you actually need to be a little bit specific when you're asking for things. And part of that specificity is being clear with yourself. So, yeah, so SatoriXPR.com, Satori, SatoriXPR for public relations.com, and Dr. Tranquility, as you see it on the bottom. And then we'll talk together and we'll figure out what most people seem to want, you know, whether it's the PR or the lessons on that, and intuition guiding you through PR and how to understand that, or, you know, Dr. Tranquility, relaxation sessions, or date therapy if you want a date therapy one. You know, we can just figure it out. So just let me know. There's a lot on the site, on Satori XPR and on Dr. Tranquility. That's my Dr. Tranquility is my personal site. Satori XPR, I have other my clients. Some of my clients are starting to appear on that site, and I have to add some new ones. And there's a magazine on the site, and which we have a digital magazine. I didn't even get to that. So take a look around and see how you feel. What is your intuition guiding you to?
That's beautiful. So it sounds like there's a couple of different paths, and I was able to talk a little more extensively with her, but what we can do with the group coaching is more information on PR and how to just grow, it sounds like that, your business or whatever it is that you're representing, or also on the more personal side, she can do the relaxation like we kind of did today on the personal level. So if you want to just shoot her an email about what would serve you most, are you feeling more about the business side, PR, or would you like to hear some more personal development ways to just find that tranquility within? So those are the two options for group classes. And the other one is she does some private work. So she obviously does these sessions, sounds like around dating, but also around personal development of going deeper into yourself. So if you want to share a little bit more about your personal sessions, working privately with you, and then we can log off. I just want to give everybody a really clear idea of the options.
Oh, sure. I know it's a lot. So working as Dr. Tranquility, we work together because it's work that we're going to be doing together, and it's about relaxation physiology. So yes, there's a bit of guided imagery, hypnotherapy. If people want to address stress specifically, we'll get into hypnotic anesthesiology, which is indicated for PTSD. It has a bit of psych in it. It has a lot of other components to it. And it's for pain and severe stress, you know, acute onset. So, you know, we'll put it out there. I have sessions there about an hour in length, and I do have a sliding scale so that people can afford to see me. But I also, you know, it's a basic scale for what the market indicates. I can talk with you one-on-one if that's a problem. And I offer the same consultancy session. Consultancy session for Satori and for PR. So we do that first, and then we branch into, you know, whatever else. You know, I have several layers of packages. But it's for what you need, especially digitally, seems to be what everyone's looking for these days. So, yeah. So I'd love to talk with you, and I do personally answer my emails. So I can do that. I don't always personally answer my phones, but I do personally answer my emails. Nice. So feel free to reach out to me.
That's beautiful. Yay. Thank you so much. That's perfect. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. It's just such a pleasure to be able to connect with you in this way. And please feel free to share this, pass this along. We want this message of intuition just to continue blessing the world. So namaste. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you so much. Make it a great day, everyone. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.